Greetings and peace and love. My name is Kwa Matab, also known as Meta LP, and even shorter and easier, LP. Welcome to Home of I Am. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having an enjoyable and fantastic time with all of our beloved guests, and especially our meditation specialist, our artistic expressionist, and of course, our featured presenter. Before we begin, I'd like to go over just a few protocols for Home of I Am. Because we're on Zoom, we're on this virtual world now, right? So we're all getting comfortable. I'm certainly getting comfortable. I'm an old school guy, but I'm learning quickly. So just generally, and I'm sure everyone knows, but if you would, please keep your mics muted during the meeting. I'd appreciate that. There will be some time later on where we'll be able to share and converse with each other. Use that chat box. That's a cool thing, the chat box, for questions to the presenter. They will be addressed upon the completion of the presentation. And of course, also in the chat box, you can feel free to include your name, your email address, and any other contact information that you feel comfortable including in that chat box. Listen, this is a platform. We're here to share, enjoy each other, share wonderful things about each other. The aim that we all have that we'll talk about later, I've coined it AEM. Of course, and I know I don't have to say this, but please, just, let's all be very respectful to the presenter and to each other, and be mindful of profanity and any other kind of, maybe offbeat or hard language, because Home of I Am is for everyone. And it is possible we may have some young kings and queens listening in close by, gathering up and harnessing some of this wonderful knowledge that's being shared with everyone. Some of you may even have an icon that allows you to raise your hand. Time permitting, at the end, we'll answer those questions. Again, you can use those, I think they call them emojis. You can clap and give a fist and all of that good stuff. So just a few things just to keep in mind, all right? And listen, we're growing, so please feel free to email any suggestions or thoughts or comments. My email address is www.metalp@gmail.com. That's www.metalp@gmail.com. Thank you. So here we are at Home of I Am. It's the home of greatness, the home of God, the home of goodness. And like many of us, we've all gone through transitions in our life and journeys, if you will. And I've certainly had mine. Been through a lot, had a wonderful and still have a wonderful family, a beautiful wife who's have supported me for many, many years. Well, through part of my journey, I started to receive downloads as I was questioning just everything. Who are we? Where are we? Where's this world going to? It's very fluid, bubbly. And I remember receiving what some of us may feel is a download or a message from the Creator, the spirits, angels, our ancestors, the ascended masters. And the vibration came to me that said, today, this was back in November of 2011, it said, today I proclaim the greatness in I Am. I am at one with the most great spirit. I am great. I am excellent. I attract all beauty. I am assistance. And that stuck with me. It was in my heart. I was going through it, right? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and making it through, and just trying to, it's been a life journey, really, since I've been a little toddler. And I've been pushing that envelope. I remember telling the Creator, listen, I want the truth. I want the truth, not everyone else's truth, right? And I went out on the spiritual cliff, and I just told the Creator, I'm jumping off, okay? So I'm gonna have faith in you. You're not gonna let me splash and splatter, but I'm gonna deprogram from everything and anything, and I'm going after it. So During that time, the Creator was just waking me up at all times, and it said to me that today that I was taking the first step from the upper realms. They told me to set up a forum where one can just feel safe to proclaim and discover the I am within themselves, right? That greatness, that God, that goodness, that would be free from any and all criticism, politics or political viewpoints, religious special interests and the like. I mean, I know we all come from different facets of life, but we all have this inner voice that speaks truth, you know. I wanted to set up a place where one can call on the greatest spirit of all great spirits to awaken what I feel is the innate great spirit within. And I said at that point, and so I wait. So essentially, home of I am it's a conduit of thought, right? I mean, we're these vessels where the light is always coming through all of us. And this platform, we're currently seeking people from all over the nation and really all over the world to be presenters in this forum. I mean, I could see members of all different kinds of organizations, religious leaders and homeless folks and politicians. I mean, this is what the forum is for, right? To express our greatness. So Home of I Am essentially is a place and space for all persons, really just of high thought. And our theme generally is just our aim. I call it AEM, which the acronyms stand for our awareness, our expansion, and our movement. And we just ask our presenters to share their mission, their work, their passion. That's essentially their aim. So again, I am home, or home of I am, or this home within you invites just all people to be guests and presenters. I mean, just a few things that come off the top of my mind in terms of people and walks of life, and there's many, right? There's 330 million plus or minus people here in the United States, and 7.5 to 8 billion plus or minus in the world, right? So we have many people. Some are homeless. We have some great leaders. We have musicians and artists, educators, children, healers, activists, the abused, folks who are what we can consider they advocate for folks, the great thinkers, the ordinary people, the extraordinary people, the introverts, the extroverts, all genders, all hues. Of course, our ancestors, the terrestrials, the extraterrestrials, and without me even saying, the wonderful ascended masters. So moving forward from 2011 to 2019, I'm going through it. I mean, I am going through it, and I had to have the Creator bless me with I would consider a ride or die wife. Her name is Jacinta Parsons, and she's been here with me. We've been shoulder to shoulder, back to back, elbow to elbow. And we've been through many things, and we continue to push that envelope, right? So as I move forward now, and I've come into some great awarenesses, right? And a lot of people are, but I'm speaking personally for myself, where the light is on. I mean, it is on full throttle. I can barely sleep these days, right? So it was around November of 2019. And I just laid on the floor. I was crying. I was weeping to the Creator. And I just said, I submit. I submit today. I submit to the greatest wishes of that great I am within. And I said, today, this haven's first block of energy has been laid in love. And so that's my commitment, right? I started this in the platform in 2019. Oh, I should say January of 2020, actually. We went a couple of months. We've had a couple of events and took some time off to kind of readjust. We're back here on Zoom. I said maybe I would go to 2020. But I tell you, it's taken off, and I've already had the first quarter of 2021 booked with presenters, right? So going back to 2011, And I remember, and I've had tons of writings that I've received, and that I'll have some books coming out in the future, right? But I remember back then it said the journey back to one requires true transformation, uninhibited by what I would call the middle road. Your way back to me was what the Creator said is your true life's journey. Becoming one, becoming your I am, is truly the road to pureness of true liberty. So many examples in our lives in settling for just enough, So many times accepting almost as a good effort. But they said God is the best beloved. So our format, in closing, before we move on with libations, and we'll have some meditations and some wonderful artists, and of course we're leading to our wonderful presenters. Our format is very simple. We have a welcome, kind of what you're hearing now, read a statement of purpose. Sometimes, depending on who the presenter is, we'll have an artistic expression, and that could be anything: spoken word, music, photography, video, poems, anything that is just artistic to a person that wants to share. Then we'll have a meditation. We'll move forward after the meditation to another artistic expression, and then we'll have our featured presenter. At that point, we kind of combine a few things. I would call it like open floor and sharing, maybe some takeaways, maybe some actionable thoughts, right? So it's a time to kind of unify all of our greatness, our great I am. And it's just my hope that people can find a wonderful vibration, a powerful energy here, and take it and kind of make it your own. And then we'll close with a artistic expression. So again, thank you for being here and bringing all of the love and all of the power and all of the light. Okay, peace.
You really don't understand, do you? Hey man, don't you realize in order for us to make this thing work, man, we've got to get rid of the pimps and the pushers and the prostitutes and then start all over again clean.
Hey, look, nobody's pushing me anyway, okay? I mean, not you, not the cops, nobody, man. I mean, you want to get rid of the pushers, I'll help you. But don't send your people after me.
Oh, come on, John. Can't you see that we can't get rid of one without getting rid of the other? We got to come down on both of them at the same time in order for this whole thing to work for the people.
Hey, look, nobody's closing me out of my business.
Hey, greetings, everyone. This is Laycon, also known as Meta LP, and our wonderful presenter, Moshe. Before we start, Moshe, I'd like to ask Sister Deborah if she would perform a libation for us. And following right behind that, she will probably just take us through maybe about a 5-minute meditation just to kind of set the tone. We're going to ask the beautiful ancestors and masters and ascended ones to bless this gathering. And I will read a short bio on you, Moshe, and then I'm really just going to turn the floor over to you today. And we like to just kind of sit back and listen out, and we'll move forward from there. So, Sister Deborah, please.
Absolutely. Greetings, everyone. I just want to ask you to take a deep breath so we can get centered in this space. And we're going to pour libations. Hopefully that you can see. Okay. So we give homage to the mothers and forefathers who came before us. We give homage for those whose backs we stand upon. We give homage to those whose sacrifices we stand on. We give homage and praise for those who came before us, who made the path easier for us. And we say Ashe. I'm going to ask you all where you are in your space. You can call out your righteous ancestors to bring them into this space. and pay homage to them also at this time.
Papa San,
Ashe,
Connie Wallace,
Ashe,
Rico Guy,
Ashe,
James Sledge,
Ashe. And we pay homage to all the ancestors whose names are known and to those who are unknown. We give thanks. Ashe.
Thank you, sister.
And while we're still in this space, I'm going to ask you all to relax and settle into your seats, comfortably into the chairs that you're sitting in. And if you could, for a minute, just close your eyes and settle in and relax. It's been a long day for many of us, and it's always good to take a minute to connect with ourselves. I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in and breathe in so that your belly rises. Breathe all the way into your belly and just let it out. And I'm going to ask you to take another deep breath in. And this time when you let it out with a noise, releasing all tension, all stress, all aggravation. And just continue to breathe normally. And as you're breathing, I want you to try to imagine your tailbone that sits at the bottom of your spine, pointed downward. And attached to your tailbone is a black cord that goes all the way down into the core of the earth. And if you can't imagine it, it's okay. Just set the intention. And as you continue breathing, I want you to search your body. Search your head, your throat, your heart. Search your body for those things that no longer serve you. Any feelings of low self-esteem, any feelings of low worth, any feelings of anger or hatred. Search your body for those feelings. And as you find them, I want you to send them down your tailbone and down that black cord to the core of the earth. Allow the earth to receive all of these things that no longer serve you. And be sure to check your shoulders and your back and your stomach and your heart. Any pain, any worry, send those things down to the core of the earth so that they can be transmuted. These things no longer serve you. And as you continue breathing normally, I want you to try to picture above your head, right at the center of your head, a beautiful, brilliant purple light. And as this light pours down to the middle of your head, it brings with it love. It brings with it joy. It brings with it peace. It brings with it worthiness. And just allow this light to go down your head, into your throat, into your heart, into your stomach, into your back, and just engulf your entire body. This light brings peace. This light brings joy. This light brings security. This light brings happiness. This light brings power. And as you take just a few more minutes to rest in this beautiful, brilliant purple light, enjoying all the feelings of joy and happiness and worthiness and peace and serenity. And while you're engulfed in this purple light, think of a happy moment, a happy time. And as you think of this time, allow a smile to come across your face as you recall the joy of this happy moment. And now, as we come back into the space, hold on to that joy. Hold on to that peace. Hold on to that happy moment. And we say, Ashe. Peace and blessings.
Blessings. Thank you. Once again, we'd just like to welcome everyone to the platform Home of I Am. I normally have a bit of an introduction to kind of explain the platform, but essentially we've been inviting a plethora and a wide variety of presenters to come on this platform once a month to essentially share their, I call it energy, I-N-N-E-R-G, their inner greatness, their inner God, their inner creativity, and to share with the world what I've coined their aim, their AEM, their awareness, their expansion, and their movement in today's world. So I'm really honored and I'm very grateful, very humbled to have a brother like Moshe Canty come in and share with us his journey. I'm going to just read just a snippet from his bio just to kind of introduce you to him. And then Moshe, we're going to turn the floor over to you today. I will say after he has completed his presentation, we generally like to have open floor. There may be some comments, some questions for the brother or questions for someone else. So we'll open that up for a few minutes and just look forward to some high vibrational talk. So this is Moshe Canty, is the CEO, co-founder. Moshe Canty is the CEO of Conscious Mind Ventures LLC and the host of the podcast Conscious Moves. Please look him up on Spotify and on some other platforms. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a consortium of business enterprises that discourages the youth from taking miscalculated risks, simultaneously teaching them the importance of making conscious moves to increase their likelihood of success in the game of life. Brother Moshe is a devout Muslim, a husband, a father. Moshe is also a former gang member who utilizes his influence to counsel at-risk youth struggling with a host of issues and teaches them alternative ways of moving through life. So with that, Moshe, I'm gonna turn the floor over to you, brother, and please share with us. So it's your turn to burn.
Okay, well, thank you, brother. Before I go on, I just want to say, all praise is due to Allah for allowing me the opportunity to speak in this forum right here. We praise Him, we seek His aid, and we seek forgiveness for our wrongdoing. I'm here as a result of Him, and I'm very thankful for that. I also want to thank you, your wife, your brother Michael Sledge, and his wife for allowing me the opportunity to build in this space. I really appreciate that. I want to thank my family and my friends that's out there who've been supporting me, throughout this tumultuous journey. I'm very thankful for that, and I don't take it lightly. You got to forgive me for the noise in the background and for being a little tardiness, man, because my Wi-Fi was acting up, so it was a little crazy for for a minute. But that's why we have these beautiful women in our lives. They are very, very, very strong and resilient, and they get it all done. And my wife is definitely that. She don't play no games. So I'm thankful for having her in my life. She just did something remarkable. I don't even know what she did. She just got it done. But I'm thankful for that as well. I stand here as a result of coming from a significant background, one that's, as I stated on the podcast, is grounded in love. I'm thankful for that. I'm not one of them individuals who can claim to be somebody from this dysfunctional family. I didn't come from that. I don't have that story. In fact, I come from a very serious background, one that was rooted in serious love. I was raised by not only solid family members from both my mother and my father's side, but extended family members that were in the streets who constantly advised me and instructed me on how to live my life, how to conduct myself out there in the world. Whether it was those individuals who were my extended family in my very neighborhood, or whether it was individuals who I met later on in my life outside of my neighborhood. But the ones who were there for me from the beginning, definitely my family members, my Kuroshi Do family, from Hanshi, Nikwan to senseis from all walks of life. Soke Hassan, Soke Austin. My father was a very, very, very powerful man, and he embedded in me some principles that will remain with me forever. So I'm very thankful for that. But throughout that process, you get caught up in this world we live in, and I was just no different from that. I like to say that I just made poor moves on the chessboard. I just got caught up. But before I even get into that, though, I'm really, really, really thankful, man, because I'm still here, and it's a testament to the mercy of Allah. Because without His mercy, I wouldn't be here. And there's so many that we know who are no longer here. So I'm just doing my best to try to make the right decisions, not only to make my family proud, but to make Him proud. And that's where I move. That's how I move on a daily basis. Everybody that's on this line right here, if you do not know me personally, then you know somebody who directly who knows me. I always like to consider myself to be a stand-up individual, but that didn't come easy for me. And that's not as a result of my upbringing, but because of poor decisions that I made in my youth. Those decisions ultimately led to me becoming incarcerated and things of that nature. I spent 22 years incarcerated in prison. I don't say that, like a badge of honor or anything like that. It's not something that I'm, proud to have done, but it was something that I did that ultimately led to me being incarcerated. I hate that I had to spend 22 years incarcerated because as a result of that, some very serious and traumatic things happened to my family members as a result of me being there. Well, not so much me being there, but family members passed away while I was there, shall I say. And that was a traumatic experience for me because I had to, wear that as well as wear the burdens of having to be in prison for committing foolish acts. I lost my sister while I was in prison, tragically, in 1999 to a car accident. I lost my grandfather while I was there, my grandmother, my mother, my brother Shemay, most recently my father, and a host of family, friends and cousins, and so on and so forth. So I wear that with me every day. The pain, people don't realize how difficult it is to not only feel like you let your loved ones down, but to also lose those loved ones while you are incarcerated. So the hardest thing for me to deal with of being incarcerated was that one, I had to explain to my family that I was not coming home for a while. I come from a very good family. You know, many of you out there know that already. Many of you are my family. I mean, by blood. So y'all know that I let y'all down, and that is like the hardest thing for me to deal with. That I had to sit in a cell every day of my life, knowing that I let my family down when they knew that I was better than the place that I was in. That to me hurted me. You know, it hurted the most, more than anything. That I think, you know, just from being in prison in general. I know that my father was constantly let down. My mother was let down because they did everything in their power to try to embed those principles in me to keep me on the straight and narrow path. So to deviate from that and then now do things that they did not teach me was really like one of the hardest things to deal with. I remember when I learned that my mother was sick, she was dealing with some heart issues. And I wrote my father a letter. I was writing all the family members and friends letters because I was just upset at everybody for not doing what I wanted them to do. And that was just a bad habit that I had. Knowing that I was at fault for being where I was, but trying to hold everybody else accountable for my ignorance. So I reached out to my father and I hit him up and I said, yo, Abba, man, you know, forget that. Forget everybody. I don't care about nobody no more. And my father wrote me back. My father said, you know, who the hell you think you're talking to? He said, you know, he said, let me, this is serious. He said, name me one time you made your mother proud of you, other than the day you were born. And I couldn't think about one time I made my mother really, really proud of me. So I'm sitting in a cell. And I said, you know what? I was so mad at my father. I said, I ain't writing him no more, man. I ain't writing my father no more because the truth hurt it. And it wasn't until I was able to grow up and fight with myself in that cell. People think that, you know, particularly the youth, they think it's a joke going to jail, or they think that it's a badge of honor. They think that it's a, you know, what they call it, I forgot the term when the youth are given what is it called? Excuse me, but it's slipping my mind right now. But anyway, they think that it's all right, that it's cool to go to prison. And they don't realize that one suffers in those cells. They don't realize that grown men are crying every night in themselves, begging the Creator, begging the law that they open up these cells so that they don't have to experience the hardships no more being there. People just come home, you might see them looking good, their skin is glowing, they got a little weight on them. They're like, all right, yeah, he did his time like a G, you know, like, nah, that's fine. Rites of passage. I saw somebody just sent me the rite of passage. Thank you. I don't know who that was, but thank you for putting that on the chat. But yes, the youth think that it's a rite of passage going to prison, but it's not. Because I was one of those individuals that was crying every night. Yeah, I was crying. Not only because I was losing loved ones, but I didn't want to be there, man. It was real. It was real because I had to struggle with myself, and people don't realize that when you're in prison, you have to deal with yourself every single day. You can't run from yourself. When them gates close and you forced by necessity to confront your identity, to confront you got to look yourself in the mirror. People don't want to look at themselves in the mirror. I know I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror because I had too many flaws. I had too many shortcomings. I had too many things that I know I needed to work on. And constantly looking at at those flaws on a daily basis, it's something I ain't want to do. Who the hell wants to be told what they should and shouldn't be doing on a daily basis? You know, that's what I constantly ran from on a daily basis. But prison compelled me to look at those ugly flaws within myself. And that hurt it. It was a painful process. It was tumultuous. And couple that on fact of being guilty for being there in the first place, for failing your family and your loved ones for being there. And then now you having family members dying while you were there, not just, you know, extended family members, third or fifth and sixth cousins, people from your immediate family, You know, that right there was some of the most emotionally and traumatic stuff that I had to wear with me. And I still wear it today. But the pain associated with that was serious. But I had to confront some serious stuff while I was there. First, I had to make amends with the Creator for stepping outside the parameters of the commandments that were established. I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing the stuff that I was doing, but I was out there in them streets committing crimes. And I ask Allah for forgiveness every day for the things that I've witnessed, the things that I participated in, because it wasn't right and exact. I know that. So I had to confront those demons. Then I had to deal with the demons of letting my family down, my mother and my father. My mother was a beautiful woman, man. You know, very stern. Everybody who knows that Miss Canty was she was a serious woman. All right. But she was a beautiful soul. She did everything in her power to help me on this journey. And she always felt like she failed in doing so because I didn't become the man that she, raised me to be. So she had to wear that to her grave. And that's a pain that hurts me. It's days that, it's not easy for me because I got to wear that. But how I strive to live my life today is a manifestation of those values that she instilled upon me when I was young. But I mentioned this on my podcast about being betrayed by your friends and stuff like that. My mother did everything to protect me from that. So that's what I used to listen to, that voice in my head when I was up north in that cell, knowing that I was supposed to be doing other things that were right and exact, but going contrary to that, making a conscious or unconscious decision to select a group of friends who I thought were part of my family, who would be, with me till the day that I die. And my mother was like, nah, these ain't your friends. These dudes are snakes. They'll snake you in a heartbeat. My mother was that type of woman. Watch that dude right there. Well, she ain't using it in that term. Anybody know my mom's know that she get real. She say some things. So, I had to wear that. And that's what ultimately made me start looking deeper and deeper within myself while I was incarcerated. People don't, as the brother read the bio, knows that, I was a part of a gang. And that was another horrible decision that I made. Very horrible. But it was a decision nonetheless. I don't have no regrets regarding making those decisions, but it ultimately shaped and molded the man that I am today. People ask me, yo, Mo, why the hell would you join a gang? You a leader. You didn't need to join no gang. But they didn't know my mindset at the time that I did that. And I like to say, well, you don't know how it is when you're in prison. You when you seeing things that just are not right. Racist police walking around killing people, officers, same thing you see going on right now with the George Floyd and the Trayvon Martin and the Mike Brown and all that stuff that's happening out here on these very streets right now is stuff that I had the opportunity of witnessing on the inside. Where blacks had to band together. We had to come together to try to organize. So the same thing you see, the same, how we witness Black Lives Matter and we see people on the front lines talking about no justice, no peace. That's how we felt like that on the inside. So it just happened to be that we considered ourselves to be gang members. Yeah, that's just how it was. I don't make no apologies for that because at the time that I was making those decisions, people's lives was being saved. And I know a lot of individuals who are no longer here because of racist cops who threw individuals down flights of stairs, who choked them out. And there was nobody out here with the cameras and the iPhones and all that recording that. We ain't had none of that. So you had to fight and stand together, or you was gonna be the next black man thrown up under some white man's foot, and that wasn't gonna be me. So I spent a total of like 15 years of my time, of the 22 years, I spent 15 of those years locked up in the box. My mother, my stepmother, Danella, who I love. She's another queen that raised me just like my mother. But I love and respect and value her wisdom and everything that she has done in terms of my development as a man as well. But they had an opportunity of seeing me within this phase of conflict, continuously fighting and just in a warlike stage, just like a warlord. But it was eating at my soul. I remember my stepmother came up to see me. Danella was like, your energy is so powerful that you pose a threat to the staff in these facilities. And that's how I was perceived, no matter where I was at, whether I was in Attica, Auburn, Comstock, Clinton, I spent 15 years in every box in the state. There's no box that I didn't spend in. And while I was at a war with these individuals who were oppressive and racist, I was also more importantly, I was at a war with myself. So internally, I was at a war. And this is what my stepmother at the time was pointing out to me, that Moshe, you at war and you losing. You're gonna end up dying in these prisons. So I was at war and I didn't even realize it. I was trying to justify my reasons for fighting against the oppression, and rightfully so, but I wasn't seeing the contributions that I was, or the destructive patterns that was more or less harmful to my own self and those that have love for me. All of you individuals who know me personally. So she had an opportunity of seeing that. I ended up coming down to every funeral I went to. My loved ones passed away. I came down in chains. I was in the box. I was in 23-hour day lockdown. So that's another thing that my mother had a chance to see me under these circumstances, coming down to funerals and stuff like that. My Aunt Barbara, my Uncle Billy, everybody, all of y'all, all of y'all had a chance of seeing me in that moment of being just vulnerable, but more or less appearing to be strong, but really, really weak. Because it was like, as soon as that funeral, that hour was up, I had to go back to prison. I had to go take myself back to that cell with those thoughts that I just left my family in that setting, but now I'm being told what to do by a bunch of white officers. So, but beyond the external factors, we can speak about that all day long. It was the internal that I had to wrestle with. I had to wrestle with the internal Moshe. Who is that individual? And that was the most difficult thing I had to do in my entire life, because it's recognizing that you're at that war with yourself, and then taking the initiative to go into battle with yourself every day. My father had a saying in the dojo, man, that is one of my favorite adages, man. He used to say, in combat, a thinking man is a dead man. And he used to say that to me on the regular, man. You have to be sharp. You have to be wise in your decision making. Everything you do, it should be righteous. It shouldn't be questionable. If anytime you have to question the decision that you're making, it's not the right decision to make. And the decisions that ultimately led me to where I was at were decisions that I questioned. I said, damn, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I didn't have any regrets, but I knew that what I was doing wasn't right and exact. So I'm saying that to say that in terms of the internal war I was going in, or I was fighting, it was like, damn, I was losing. And I was questioning whether or not if I was making the right decisions. And that's what made me feel like I was like, yo, I got to get control over this, man. I got to get some help. But that happened in between the months of April of 2014 and January 2004, December of 2014, in between my maternal grandmother passing away and my mother passing away on Christmas of 2014. Between those two events, I really can't explain what happened, but it was during those moments where I became a Muslim. I announced my Shahada and I embraced Islam as my deen. But it's kind of strange to explain exactly what was happening internally, but I just know that I remember being in the cell, locked down. It seemed like I was always in that predicament for doing something, and just feeling weak, like I can't do this no more, man. Like, and just falling down on my knees and asking Allah for help. Up to that point, I used to write letters to everybody. Yo, send me this, do this for me, do that for me, take care of this, do that. Yo, I need you to do that. Boom, just everything. And some people would comply, others would be like, all right, we got you. But I felt like I was dependent on people too much, on human beings. But it was at that moment that I stopped that dependence on everybody else and I called upon the Creator, was when my life got easy. It's like everything just became easy. But before that point, it was a struggle. It was hard, man. I spoke about crying and yeah, that was me, man. I was up in there breaking down in themselves, man. I was going through it. So, it was then that I started getting a hold of myself. But at my mother's funeral, it was so beautiful, man, that everybody came out to show love. Y'all know who y'all are. It felt like a family reunion for me. It didn't really feel like a funeral. So when I was riding on my way back to the prison, I was thinking about everybody who I saw within that realm, and one person in particular was my wife now, who we've known each other since we was 11 and 10 years old, respectively. Probably a little older, probably 12 and 11, respectively. And I was thinking to myself, wow, man, not only did I spend some time with my family, but this woman right here is special. And I remember going back to the prison and saying, I got to write her a letter. So, you know, I ended up writing that letter to her. And in that letter, strangest thing, I asked her to marry me. And she ended up accepting. But it was at that moment that I knew I had to get my act together. Because now I wasn't just thinking for myself no more. I was thinking for a woman who I know truly loved me. And let me tell you something about this woman. This woman here don't play no games with Moshe. You know, I have tendencies at times to be kind of, you know, a little crazy, but so does she. She a little crazy too. And I think both of us together, she balances me out. I can't push her over and stuff like that. But having a queen on my side who can balance out the king made my life that much more easier for me. The decisions for me began to become easy. I didn't feel like I had to do everything on my own, but I definitely had to think. And I'm thankful for that. I'm really thankful for that. But it was that journey of struggle that ultimately led to my consciousness being raised, calling upon the law, asking the law for help, being sincere in what I was doing. I believe I was sincere, and the law knows best. And just asking for help and just striving to be the best that I could possibly be. But it didn't come easy for me because now I had to fight with the Moshe whose reputation in the penitentiary became somebody where everybody knew now, because I was this individual who was fighting officers all over the state. So now people was like, yo, that's Moshe, that's the big homie right there. So I could just go to a jail, make a call and shut the whole jail down. You know, people looking at me like, yo, this Mo, man, he ain't banging no more, man. He a Muslim. How Moshe is a Muslim? You know, I had to deal with that now. I had to deal with first of all, you left the gang and that's something I had to deal with. So I got to deal with whether or not one of these young dudes might run up on me and might try to pull a stunt. And I might have to break one of their arms or something. Or, you know, you never know how the situation might happen in there. Your arm might get broken. Your neck might get broken. You know, you might get stabbed. You might get cut. This is the reality. So I'm constantly dealing with this, whether or not this might be a reality for me, but also dealing with the fact that they looking like I done left one group to join another group. But it was the best decision that I made, man, because Allah made it easy for me. I'm thankful for that because not everybody has it easy like that. And that's a testament to his mercy again. So again, I stand here as a result of that. So while I was there, I began, you know, doing everything that I felt was needed to prepare myself for this transition back out here into society. I knew that I had to be prepared, not only for myself, but because of my family. I was involved in a relationship now in which I knew I had to take this thing seriously. It couldn't be, there's no games now. Now you have to be an adult. You have to be a man. You can't be the young Moshe no more where you irresponsible, running around like a chicken with your head cut off. I knew I had to basically make responsible decisions now. So it was within that time I said, you know what, I got to really start preparing for this time so that once I get here, everything will be all right for me. And that's what I began doing. So my wife and I, we began collaborating our efforts and basically saying, how is it that we want to move forward? What is it that we want to do once I make this transition? How do we want to, you know, ensure that when you do make this transition, your platform will be on your feet? So we had to make sure our relationship was solid, and we did that. So that's a testament to the type of woman that I have in my life, man, who is just, I mean, I can't even describe it. I can't even put it into words. So, you know, she's a solid queen. So, you know, but she was able to help balance me out and do the things that I needed to make that transition. And we began to devise these strategies together. And the brother mentioned it, you know, in terms of, you know, Conscious Mind Ventures. She and I, we felt like, you know, we want to give back to the kids. We want to give back to the youth. We want to be able to help them not make the same mistakes that I made in my life that ultimately led me to being incarcerated, but that the decisions that we all make, because we've all been young before. You know, everybody didn't make the right decisions. We didn't all make the best decisions, but we know how it is to be irresponsible and young. So we felt like, based on our experience, we we have a lot to offer to the youth. So that's where the whole conscious mind thing came into existence. But we wanted it to be unique, and it was actually like, you know, it wasn't something that we put thought into, the whole name thing. It actually came like we had to put thought to it, because it was like when we was doing the company and they did a search that, you know, they told us that they reached back to us saying that, you know, there may be a potential problem with our original name, which we just used the word conscious mind. And then that's when we sat back and said, well, maybe they talk about the name conscious, because we wasn't really sure what they were making reference to. And that's when we basically was like, oh, well, you know what about this and what about that? And then that's what ultimately gave life to the whole name conscious. As y'all know, it's spelled Konchess. And then we started talking about, making moves and like the game of chess and boom. And then I started looking at her, because I'm locked up in prison. I'm the king on the board. I can't do nothing. I'm literally locked the hell up. So my queen is out there in the streets making all these moves for me. She's moving from here, going over here. Baby, I need you to take care of that. Go do this for me. Boom, call him. Boom, call her. Call this, call auntie, call them. Boom. She's on the board being able to go any and everywhere, but I'm sitting in one spot and move just from box to box. Anybody that know how to play chess know the king can't move nowhere, man. So it's the queen that has all this power. So I was like, oh, this conscious mind thing makes sense. So we began growing from there, and from that impetus, or from that seed, we began to propel ourselves forward with that, saying that we would use that as the backdrop for how we move forward in terms of raising the consciousness of the youth. But not only the youth in this case, but also all of us as well, because we see the conditions that our people are in right now. You know, as I stated before, you know, we're remarkable people. So I come from a family that's into community service. No matter how much I try to stay away from it, it seems like I'm always getting pulled back into community, uplifting the community. This is what my father was heavily involved in. This is what my father's side of the family is heavily involved in, and even some percentages of my mother's side, a strong percentage of my mother's side as well. So it seemed like I always got pulled back to that. So that's what I've pretty much been doing since my release. It's been beautiful, man. The love that I've been getting has been amazing. I'm thankful, like this forum here, this opportunity has been an example of that. The love from community. When I came home, man, we're supposed to just be. I told my wife, I said, listen, I don't want no big get together. I'm not doing the big get together thing. I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna go to the house. We're gonna have some family. Yeah, right. We had that, and we had a big event. My friends from my neighborhood, my sisters. I love them all. You know, Sydney, Kia, all of my sisters just did it big. You know, my brothers from the hood, man. My brothers, they like, nah, this is what we doing, and they made it that. You know, I had a get together, cookout, and it was beautiful. So it just showed me like, wow, man, how everything happens in full circle, and it was a beautiful thing. Oh, hold on, my queen is saying something. Is the queen always making sure things is right? Excuse me, y'all. All right, so you know, so that's what ultimately, you know, moved me forward in that regard. But looking at that made me say, damn, you know, here it is. I have all this love for my family, my community, who never abandoned me. So how do I give back? How do I give back to them? I wanted to be able to come home, not the same individual, but I wanted also to make amends with those who I know love me and do good by them, because I know that they truly appreciated me in their lives as I did them. So just seeing them at the picnic at my house and stuff like that was a testament to that right there. Because I know I let everybody down, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be the individual who my family intended for me to be. That's who I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be that responsible community leader, the pillar of my community, to do right by my community. And as long as I have air in my lungs, by Allah's mercy, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So while I was on the inside, I conceived the idea along with my wife. We were sitting down, coming up with a bunch of ideas, and in the process of us coming up with the idea of starting our company together, Conscious Mind Ventures, I was like, yo, I'm coming out there with a podcast. Not only are we gonna have, you know, an apparel line, and, you know, not only are we gonna, you know, have a consulting business where I'm out there consulting firms of the world or of the community and things of that nature about the problems associated that accompany us in this world. Or not only am I going to use my voice to be a motivational speaker, among other things, but I'm gonna come up with a podcast because I kept hearing about everybody having podcasts. And so I came home and I said, all right, let me listen to what's going on. So I was listening for a couple of days and I was like, all right, I hear what was being said, but this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come up with conscious moves. And that's ultimately where conscious moves came from, right? And you know, that right there was beautiful because I felt like by doing that, it would then give me it would allow me to reach the audience by addressing some of the issues our people are confronted with. So that was big for me. That was definitely big for me. And I felt like that was a way for me to now give back where I didn't give back in the past. I used my voice in the past, to be a little destructive, a tool for destruction. So I said, in this case now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help save as many lives as I possibly can. If it means pushing an individual to be a better person and motivating them to do so, and then they can say, you know what, man, Mo gave me some great advice, and then they can get their lives together. Then that's what I would do. I get texts every day, emails every day from individuals saying, yo, Mo, something you said on there was contributory to my progress. And if I can help contribute in that regard, then that's great. So I've just been active since then, man. I've been active since then. I not even 2 weeks out, I was able to gain employment. I was able to gain employment from the Center for Community Alternatives as a youth employment mentor. So that's what I do on a daily basis. I'm also, like I said, I'm doing my business and stuff like that. You know, we're about to come out with our hoodies and stuff like that. That's going to have the name of our slogan on there. So we're doing that. That's the next project. I'm striving right now to link up with individuals, organizations, and stuff like that, so I can use my voice to speak in other forums about criminal justice reform and things like that, police brutality, among other things, and just systemic issues that directly affect us as a community and things of that nature. So I intend on definitely using my voice as an agent for constructive change. And I'm out here. I'm out here in these streets, man. I'm definitely doing the work. And by Allah's mercy, I'm gonna continue to do so. So you know, I definitely appreciate the opportunity that you guys afforded me for allowing me to use my voice here. I'm glad that I could have been the focal point which has brought everybody together, because everybody, I'm sure, have your own busy schedules out there. Y'all doing y'all thing. Y'all got businesses to attend to, work and things of that nature, families to take care of, and that's not. We all know that to spend an hour doing something like this is not easy. So we know that, you know, we know that. So I don't take that lightly. So just for taking time out of your hectic schedule to, to focus on listening to me and supporting me after spending so many times in bondage, I truly appreciate that. But in spite of spending time in bondage, I don't look at it as a negative. You know, I don't want to just speak about, oh, how horrible the conditions were, because I know in struggle there has to be somebody has to win that fight, and that was my journey. So, you know, if I'm going through something, I got to go through a struggle, and that was my struggle. That was my way of going through what I had to go through to become the man that I am today. So I'm thankful for that. I know if I would have made any decision other than that, then I might not be where I am today, sitting in this platform right here. So I'm very thankful for that. I look forward to, you know, continuing to work with you guys. The home of I Am has embraced me. As I stated, Michael Sledge has embraced. And it's crazy how that happened. You know, this is just the influence of, you know, by Allah's mercy, man. It just happened through my one of my instructors, man, Hashi Nequan. Listen, man, it's crazy. From my father to Nequan, Michael Sledge to being here. All of this is just interconnected. All of it is just interconnected. Nothing is insignificant, as you guys hear me say. It's all interconnected. So I can't say exactly how it happened, but all I know is that I'm speaking with the brother Lookup, you know, and I'm like, yo, man, how does this happen so fast like this? That, you know, but it was through Allah's mercy. It was through the brother Nequan. He linked up with Lookup, you need to get hooked up with Lookup, and I hooked up with Lookup, and the next thing you know, boom, I'm taking off. The brother Lookup, I don't know why they call him Lookup, but he know everybody. So you keep looking up, just looking up. I don't know why they call the name Lookup, but you look up, he there, boom. He know the people from all over the place. So I'm like, yo, man, you know my Uncle Billy? I'm talking to my Uncle Billy the other day. He said, yeah, I know him. Bro. I'm like, bro, how you? Oh, y'all brothers know each other. It's like everybody's interconnected. We all have this beautiful thing of family and community. So for me, I feel like this is very, very important. So I'm thankful for everybody out here that continue to support me. Everybody, even those who I don't know, everybody has had a hand in who I am today. Everybody whose names that I saw listening and stuff like that, whether you were friends, family, all of you have been integral parts in who I am as a person from the beginning, from the foundation all the way up. Whether you was teaching me something in the home, or whether you was throwing me around on the mat, or whether I was in a relationship with you, whoever it is, whatever. Whether everybody has had a role to play in the person that I am today, and I'm thankful for that. I'm very, very thankful for that. So, I definitely, if I want to open up the floor to questions and stuff like that, I'm if that's what y'all want to do, I'm all in. But before I say something too, y'all got to listen to this podcast by my sister. Her name is Kier Brown. It's called Put Your Podcast Down and Have Family Time. That's my sister right there. So support her. She's definitely in need of that, and we all are in need of that. All right, it's her daughter, and her son, and they collaborate their efforts to basically talk about the issues that are affecting their family and us as a community. So please listen to that podcast. All right. I'm
Brother, all praise, man. We appreciate you, your power, your insight,
Yes.
your journey, your awareness, as we call it, and your expansion and your movement.
Yeah.
And you bring a lot of power, and Home of I Am and the Sledge Foundation, and I'm sure a host of other people support you and have your back. And I look forward to doing, as we say, much work together moving forward.
Yeah.
At this point, we'd like to open up the floor, like for takeaways. It can be comments if you have some questions for Brother Moshe.
So Moshe, I'm gonna hit you with a question.
That sound like Auntie. That sound like Auntie right there.
It is. It's Auntie. So Moshe, I watched you from a young boy grow up.
Yes,
A smart young man in school. Even in high school, you was at the top in August Martin. So for our young men that's coming up today, what would you tell them so they don't get caught up in the same mistakes you did? Because you was a young man on the right path. I knew you, not just I know you, I knew you.
That's true.
From being top in August Martin. I watched you grow. So what would you tell a young man in today's society, in a Black community, not to make the same mistakes, even as far as I listen to your podcast, as you know, of not getting caught up or not the peer pressure of following friends?
Auntie, that's a great question. And yes, let me just say this. You were very instrumental in my development. You do know me. And yes, you were one of those individuals who I thought of very often, who I felt like I let down a lot. There's no question about that. But to your question, that's a serious question. I would advise them. I would give them two different realities. The realities that this is the life that you're living, that it comes with consequences. And if you don't choose that life, this is what, these are the decisions that you can make that might be beneficial for you. But I will simply say this right here. You have a choice to make. Ultimately, the power of that choice rests with you. I would simply say this. If you make the right choice, it has the potential to be better for you. But if you make the wrong one, it has the potential to be very bad for you. And I would use myself as an example to say, I'm an individual who knows from that. You don't have to listen to me. Make your decisions, but make sure you make the best ones. Because no matter what, Auntie, at the end of the day, it's just like raising a child. You know this better than I do. You can raise that child up, but ultimately, once that child goes out there on their own into the world, they have to make the decision. They have to implement all of those values that were taught to them on their way up. But at that point, they have to learn how to do it on their own. And there's going to be trial and error with that. But when you're in them streets, you know this better than I do, Auntie. When you're in those streets, you're making a very poor decision. But if that's the decision that you want to live up to, you want to live with that decision, know the consequences that come with that. Know that you're putting yourself amongst a percentage of individuals who are either going to be dead or in prison. Know that that's your reality. If you're all right with that, living like that, then by all means continue to do that. But if in your heart you know you ain't ready for dying, for going to jail forever, then you might as well leave that life alone, man. And that's how I would give it to them. Because I know a lot of individuals from the streets who didn't make it. So that's how I would basically give it to them, Auntie, just like that.
That's a good response. I like that. I like that.
I love you, Auntie.
Love you more.
Any other thoughts or questions for Brother Moshe or sharing that anyone would like
Yes,
to do?
sir.
The floor is wide open.
First of all, I just want to thank Sister Trina for that question, because that was a very good question. Very, very good question. But as Moshe said, the young people, if we do have a message for them, it's that they do have a choice. You do have a choice in life. You can come from the greatest foundation, family foundation, which Moshe comes from. I'm his uncle. I know Moshe's foundation. I'm his godfather. I love him dearly. He hit the ground running when he came home. And you can't ask for a better way of giving back for the pain that he claims that he, suffered with our family. But he's giving it back full. And I don't know if he understands that. We were praying for him constantly. We were just hoping that things would go well for him. We knew the pain he was going through when he came home for those funerals, and in chains, and they had to walk him out the churches, and in chains. We knew that pain. We all were crying to see him go out the door. We passed out, some of us. We didn't want to see Mo go. But I remember the conversations Moshe and I used to have. Moshe was in college when he went away. And I was telling him, yo, man, you got to chill with those dudes you hanging with, man. You got something good going for you. But the young people, they as old folks should say, they start smelling their piss. And they get out there and they feel they have to prove something to their crew, but when you get knocked and they hit you with all that time, and you feel that, why isn't people come to visit me? Why aren't people sending me stuff? We're in pain, man. I know personally, I don't like going. I went to jails to visit my brothers, and I used to get anxiety attacks, claustrophobic, because I don't like being locked in. That's why I never got busted. I never been an angel, but I never got knocked, right? Because I'm afraid of prisons. But when Moshe was taken away from us, we were crushed. All his family and friends, all of us were absolutely crushed. But let me tell you, the Creator does things that you don't understand. There's a purpose in all of our lives. We all have a purpose in life. Your purpose was to get spanked. Your purpose now is to go out there and spread the word to these young folks, what the decisions they make, what will happen if they don't do the right thing. You can either be dead, in jail, in some kind of insane asylum. So what you're doing, Moshe, it is just the Creator, have a job for you. Since you came on, I've been wanting to see you, but as your auntie and I, we're getting older. We stay away from folks. This coronavirus got us kind of shook. We don't.
I don't blame
people that
you.
much, man. But I can't wait to see you, brother, and hug you, man. We talk about you all the time. We've been praying and sending good energy and light your way, brother. And the Creator's received it, and that's why you're still here. I strongly believe that prayer works, sending good energy works, and you've received it. And we're just so proud of you, man. You have not stopped grinding since you came home, man.
Thank
And
you,
that's
Uncle
what
Billy.
you got to do. You got to stay out of this crazy no. And still, since you came home, be careful who you hang with, bro. Even some of your own homies, because you don't know what they into, bro. They may come back. Anybody, when somebody comes back home, yo, man, come on, we're gonna turn up, man. We're gonna, blah. Be careful who you hang with, brother.
Yeah, and that's why having such a beautiful queen, man, because my queen has been out here. And look, listen, just like on the chessboard, look, all them little pawns that's moving and them little rooks and all, she chopping all that. Everything is falling, by the way. Yeah, ain't nothing on the board.
Is the truth, brother.
Yeah,
Believe
serious.
me. Yeah. She is the truth. And you've been blessed to have her as your queen.
That is an actual fact.
It's a blessing to have her, man. We always been in touch with her. You've been seeing so in your, as they say, she's one of those ride or die chicks, not to call her.
No, definitely that she listen.
Ride or die.
Ride or die. It's gonna be ride or die for real.
Man, the move that she made to come see you all the time, back and forth, up and down, man.
Listen, let me tell you something, Uncle Billy, and let me. This is just to add on to that. I don't think people understand how hard the experience is of being in prison is. But to have somebody who has their life already in order, who's already a career woman, who's doing what it is that she's doing, to put all of that on hold, to say, I'm going to stop and put all that on hold because I'm going to come inside the valley of the shadow of death and reach for this man to save him from damnation, right? You hear me? I'm going to pull you out of this. This is something extremely interesting. So yes, you're definitely right about that. Facts. I truly I revere, honor, and respect her on a level that I can't even put into words. That's a fact.
Brother, love you too, man.
Love you.
I love you. I hear you, on Bob. I love you. How you doing, on Bob? I love you too.
Okay.
That's my mother's sister right there, y'all. That's my.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. Are there anyone else?
Yes, I do.
It's like,
Hi. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My
Good
brother
evening.
Moshe, I love you so much. You already know. My question to you is, what was the most trouble you had when you faced yourself in the proverbial mirror by yourself?
That's a great question. Just lying to myself. One thing about the streets is that it turns you into a monster. It makes you believe that you are somebody that you're not. So the hardest part for me was fighting with the person who I became, who I knew wasn't me. To everybody else, they thought that Moshe was this all tough. Oh, that's Mo. But when I got in that cell and I was fighting with myself, I was faced with the true me. I was just a regular, good, loving kid. I was just that guy, but I was that facade. I had to live up to that facade so that other individuals would not make their move on me or would not think I was soft. But the truth was that I wasn't who everybody else, or let me just say this, the individuals who everybody else thought I wasn't. And that was the hardest part for me, finally getting a hold over my true personality, who Moshe truly is, and fighting that pseudo personality and saying, forget about what everybody care about or what everybody expect from that pseudo personality. I don't care if you don't value the true me. I'm gonna live my life according to me and who I am. If you don't like it, then so be it. So that's a great question. I think that was the hardest decision for me to make, and that was the hardest thing in terms of trying to, gain some control over my life.
I have a question. I need to ask you this only because I know it's missing in the Black communities. What do you think is missing that can help our youth to build, to not take the same routes or roads that you might have took or was tempted by? But what do you think is missing that may have been here or may have been there back then, but is missing from the community today?
That's another great question. It's I don't want to say it in this way because it's not as simple. But the men are missing, man. When I was growing up, I had some very serious men in my life, and I'm not saying this lightly. Now, that may not have been everybody's situation, but for me, I had a lot of positive male role models in my life, and I'm not saying this lightly. I had tens, if not hundreds, of examples that I can go to who were men who were doing positive things in their respective communities, who were pillars of their communities. Hanshi Nikwan is one of them, right? Sensei Kwansai is another one. Soke Asan is another one. My father was another one. Michael Sledge was another one, right? Brother Muhammad was another one. Kuda was another one, and so many, and so on and so on. I could keep going on and on and on. These individuals were not criminals. These individuals were actively involved in the upliftment of their community. And not only were they actively involved, behind the scenes, they were directly invested in the community. They engaged the community. They were entwined within the community. They did not shy away from being in the community because of the forces that be, the negative forces at be. So what I acknowledge to be a major problem is that it appears as if individuals have given up. And that's individuals from all ages. But when I was younger, these individuals were in their 30s and their 40s. Now these individuals are older now. They're in their 60s, hitting their 70s, some even older than that. But I don't see individuals from my age group who are strong like these individuals were. So I think that's what's missing. And that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
So do you think programs are missing?
Without a doubt. I mean, we without a doubt. I mean, it seems as if those have been taken from the community. It's like where are they at right now? When I was young, it seemed like all we had was these programs that we can go to. That's another thing, that these after school extracurricular programs, but not only that, those programs that were, somebody put defunded. Yes, my sister Kia put defunded. There's no question about that. There's no question that they've been defunded, but some were organic. Some were self-created to the extent that Hashi Nikwan and my father and them, they created their own programs. The Sledge group, these individuals created their own groups, right? They said, you know what, we're not going to depend on the state apparatus or the powers that be to help construct these programs to raise the consciousness or the awareness or to uplift the youth. They said, we're going to pool our resources to do it for ourselves. So it was more, they took on the collective responsibility to be able to do that. And that's what's missing right there. That's what's missing, without a doubt.
This is true.
Yes. Anyone else? This floor is open. We have a few more minutes left, and would love to hear from as many people that would love to share. Brother Michael.
I'm a co-host, so I can't, raise my hand, brother. Brother Moshe, you're a blessing, man, and
I love you, brother.
I love you too. I'm looking at your brother on here, and his real name is not up there, but I can see his face and see your father and see your mother, man. And I'm saying this because I was one of the last men, one of them, to speak with your dad before he passed. And we talked extensively. And he was in Georgia, Lacan. His father was in Georgia, right? We talked extensively about our children. The shoemaker's children should never have rundown shoes. The shoemaker's children should never have rundown shoes. I don't know if you get that.
Yes, I do.
Your father and two other men developed one of the most powerful martial arts system created on this earth called Karoshi-Do, the way of the Black warrior.
That's true.
Our children sometimes fall through the cracks because of what you said. You guys make decisions, man. But I don't have a question for you because I talk to you almost every day, if not every day, right?
Yes, sir.
I want to put something out here on this forum because of my brother Lacan and the home of I am. The home of I am. The home of I am. This is so spiritual. And Lacan, if you can, before we get off, explain the AEM for us again, okay? Many don't know this,
outside of our queens. But me and Lacan went back to 4, 5, 3 years old on the same block in Edgecombe. Our parents connected, we connected. We got separated around 10, 11. And then Almighty God spiritually brought us back together through social media. When I sent him your podcast, he responded almost immediately about, can he speak for us? Niquan and I had talked, and Niquan said, I sent them to you. And I'm like, okay. I said, your father got me and Niquan working from his grave. But this is the spirit, man. This is the spirit, man. Listen to me, brother. Because for somebody to come home from federal time, 22 years, 15 years in solitary confinement, and in 22 days, you find employment, you get connected with the village, you get connected with people who love and care for you and your family. I'm looking at my daughter, Siobhan. I'm looking at my daughter, Satidra. I'm looking at your family on this call. I'm looking at people. That brother that just asked that question, Mr. Jones.
That's my uncle right there.
Mr. Jones, Uncle Jones.
Yes,
we don't have to wait for this government to do things for our community. My wife, and you did an excellent job again, Deborah Sledge, did the meditation, but we decided 20 years ago to start our own mentoring program. It is one of the oldest mentoring programs in Harlem. And you can't tell me God hasn't used us to change lives. Brother, you are in position and know your position. The kids say, stay in your lane. No, you know your position, that Almighty God is going to use you to get the message out. So the young people and some of the old heads like us on here can get off our butt, because we ain't doing nothing in Corona. We really ain't moving like we were moving, and start something. Do some podcasts. There's over 33 people I counted on this call. Somebody needs to have Moshe speak next week, the week after that, the week after that, and put them in front of your kids, put them in front of your family, put them in front of the community, put them in front of them drug dealers in front of the house, put them in front of the Bloods, put them in front of the Crips. What we don't have, or we didn't have back then, was this technology. You don't have to leave your house, man. You got about 7 states on this call of people I know that's on this call, 7. But the beauty is, it ain't just about Moshe. It's about us pouring life into him and speaking life into him. But it really is about us getting off our butts. And when this podcast is over, doing something. My brother's coming out of jail making moves, conscious moves. Check this out. He can't do it alone. My wife always says this: the cavalry is not coming. Dun, 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 dun. They ain't coming. I'm tired to sitting back, complaining, and talking about what's wrong and not doing anything. Start your own podcast. Support my man. You see his stuff on social media, blast it. That young sister, Kiara Brown, blast it. His brother, you in Chicago or Atlanta, man? I can't keep up with you.
Yeah, I'm in San Fran now. I'm in San Fran.
Put your stuff in the chat, man. Listen, if you're doing anything positive with Lacan's permission and a home of I Am, put your information in the chat so we can support each other and grow each other and give each other more purpose and more life on this earth. Tomorrow is not promised.
Brother, look up. Let me just add to that, because I'm coming from behind the wall, and y'all hear me say this a lot in regards to the brothers that I left behind. There is a significant percentage of individuals behind the wall who are innocent of the crimes that they've been convicted of, and I can't. It's so many individuals who claim to be innocent. I can't even count. But I know one individual is my brother. His name is Abdul Malik. His name is Melvin Green, and I just left him in Shawanga. This is my brother from another, for real. He has a natural life for a crime that he did not commit. A natural life bid, which means that, if we don't support him, then he's more than likely going to die in the prison for something that he didn't do. So not only did I come home with the intention on helping myself, my family, and those who I can out here, but also help individuals who I know are on the inside who don't have the support that they need to get them out of the predicament that they're in. Because he's just one of many individuals who are not coming home. So I had to wear that burden of coming out here, knowing that I just left a brother who I love immensely, who's not my biological brother, like my brother Reality, my brother Shimon and Shimei, and etc., but who is my brother. You know, we are Muslims, and he is my brother, and I love him dearly. His wife Khadija is out here alone. All right, they have to attend to their kids. She has to attend to their kids alone, but she supports him. Right, she goes up to visit him all the time. Right, but she's just by herself. You know, and she has to deal with being alone in this world, going to see her husband who has been wrongfully convicted by a system who we know would rather see him, another black man, die in some white man's cell. All right. But so I just wanted to state that for the record, because in spite of that, I'm out here pushing his agenda as well. You know, so you will see hashtag free Melvin Green, and I'm going to push that agenda because, one, I know that that's my brother who was wrongfully convicted. I have all of his paperwork, his documents, and I've read everything. And that brother was treated by a racist and unjust system in Orange County, New York, and with an all-white jury, a racist judge, racist officers who did everything in their power to arrest that man and lock him up for something that he didn't do. So that's another a component, because I felt like for many instances that although we had the support of the community to some extent, not to a much greater extent, where we don't support the brothers locked up the way we should be, because there's a stigma associated with being incarcerated, as if, you know, when brothers go up in there, they got to fend for themselves, when it shouldn't be like that. Because we're a community, and communities are called for unity. All right. Yeah, we've made some poor decisions, you know, but we've all of us, even on this panel right here, have made some poor decisions. Right. Some of us have made decisions and we've got our lives together. Not everybody here just sits here as a result of getting their lives in order. Some individuals who's in the streets too. Many of you older brothers know criminals that got life in jail. Some of your old school buddies, you know, were strung out on heroin, strung out on drugs. People made poor decisions. But in spite of those poor decisions, we know individuals who also were able to get their affairs in order, right? So we should be very supportive of our people, man. And when I say our people, I mean our brothers and sisters who are still struggling behind the wall, because I'm never going to forget them, man. I'm never going to forget them. I'm going to continue to fight for them as long as I have air in my lungs. And my brother Melvin Green is just one of many, but he's just one who I'm wearing his burden every day on my shoulders.
We have about 7 minutes, and Brother Moshe, all praise and blessings to you. We have about 7
Lakon,
minutes.
I see El Best has a hand up. I think that's Sister Kekasan.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to keep the floor open. We have about 7 minutes, so please get El Best, please.
Jumbo, Brother Moshe, you have no idea how blessed and amazed. It's awesome to see you. I want to acknowledge Jumbo Hanshinikwan and Master Sledge and Brother Reality. I see you too. In the words of your dad, the late great Soke's Papa Son Canty, nothing less than this word fits. Outstanding. That was his word that he used all the time.
He did.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Some of us made poor decisions. The first podcast that I heard from you, you talked about, I can tell you about making all the wrong decisions. And that was powerful because I've made some myself. But we always rally around the young people, the men and the women, the young girls, when they're doing good. They have a lot of supports. Everybody applauds them and lifts them up. But when you make a mistake, people want to make you pay for it for a long time. There's no uplift for the young Black kings and queens out here that have made mistakes because people make them wear it like a scarlet letter. So my question is actually this. Looking at the state of what's going on in the world, just being Black is a target in itself. You know, it's just the way that it is now. But when you're trying to talk to those young individuals and they've heard it all, people have let them down. They say, oh, you know, you just talk and you're going to be another person to let me down. From where you've come from, turning your test into a testimony and your mess into a message, what hits home for those young people we want to reach and get past their ear to their heart? Would you say would be the thing that really hits home to bring them in?
Three words I have. credibility, believability, and reliability. You have to be credible. You have to be somebody that they look to as a credible source, that they, when they refer to, they say that this individual or individuals are battle tested. They have to believe what it is that you're saying. Many of these people are speaking and nobody believes nothing that's coming out of their mouth because they're not believable. They don't have the credibility, and they have to be reliable. You know, you have to show through your actions that you can rely on me for things, and I'm going to fulfill what it is that I say I'm going to do. And that's not easy. That's Kekasan, that's not easy. And a lot of these young individuals, they've been let down time after time after time. And society has let them down. Many of their families have let them down. So we know the systemic issues, the structural issues, the family issues, we know about that. That's a major issue that unfortunately confronts them. Excuse me. But again, credibility, believability, and reliability. I believe if those three things are the youth, they see them, not so much being taught or told to them, but they can see that with their own eyes, then I am of the ilk who believes that by seeing it, they will then want to replicate that.
We have Niquan, Brother Niquan Murphy. You had your hand up.
Excuse me, my battery a little low.
You're fine. Can you unmute your mic there?
Yes, sir. How are you? How's everybody doing?
Hold on, y'all.
I just want to say how, one, proud I am of what you've done since you've been home. As you know, I knew you since you were born, boy, as the saying goes. And he was just like he was a ring bearer in my wedding when I got married. He was 5 years old. That's how with me and my family.
Mine too.
Can you hear?
No, but can you hear me? You guys hear me?
Hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you, Hanshi.
Okay. So soon as I knew, he was home, I reached out to him, got back to me, and right away I already said, listen, I'm gonna connect you with somebody that can help you out. And even though we don't talk every day like you and Lookup does, Mike Sledge does, he and I talk constantly about you, and we're talking about what you're doing and what you could be doing and how he can direct you. The thing is, I know what you have in you, so I know what you can do. And for a lot of people here who obviously don't know, I worked 27 years wearing the blue that he's talking about. I wasn't, I didn't stay in uniform all the time. I had a position, but I kept track of him, of Moshe. He knows this. I kept track of him. And Soke Pop Sign and I would talk regularly about it. And I would say, listen, this is what's going on with him. But either because I had the ability to go into the records and see. So it was always, and I had other people watching him. The thing is that I wanted to make sure that the things that were going on, he would have been able to recover from it. And to see what's going on now, I'm very happy. I'm ecstatic about it because, he's the man that I knew he always could be. And as long as, listen, if he ever even looks like he's going to look the other way, he's got me to deal with. And he knows that because I love him that much.
I got him after you.
I want to see him succeed, nothing but. And he knows you can call me anytime for anything. I mean, like a lot of people see him at funeral services and so forth for family members and changes. I mean, I had that unfortunate, thing as well. When his mom died, I was there, and it was one of those things that, I hated to see it, but there were things that I knew that was necessary, but I also saw in him a change. So I knew he was going to be all right. I knew that. So soon as we connected, when he got out, okay, I got somebody I need you to talk to. Boom. And that's when, everything just started happening. I really love it. And the fact that he chose the name he did, Conscious Minds, or Conscious Moves, if you will. I love chess, so I understood it right away. And, it's kind of how I live my life a little bit, because growing up in Brownsville, like a lot of people here, for me, it was, if I do this today, what's that going to do for me tomorrow? And that's the message that he's giving. And that's the message that I like hearing. Trying to let people know, if you do this today, you got to think about what's going to happen tomorrow, which means their future. And as long as he can put those kind of words and energy into the youth and people that he just come in contact with, this is the kind of thing we need wholeheartedly with everyone. We can do that, we have a brighter future. That's what I believe. And going back to what the brother asked about the things that are missing and what he mentioned about, these community programs, like there are no community centers anymore. There are no PALs no more. Those places, were great places to meet people. They were great places to get structure. They don't exist no more. And that was a conscious move on the other side. They seen us getting stronger through things like that, so they took those things away from us. They try to take as many resources away from us, but that's why we got to keep fighting to keep pushing the resources. Even just going around speaking in different community programs, churches, places like that, where you can talk to the youth and the community at large and get them to start thinking about a different way. That's what we need to do. And it's not always even about getting paid to do it, because your payment will be the success of those that come behind you. That's what I believe. So again, I have an extremely busy life, like I'm sure a lot of people do, but I had to be here because I had to hear my brother. I had to see what he had to say, because I love him that much. And I'm just happy for how you're turning out, bro. Yes, I am. Very happy for you. Love you much.
Well, I love you more, Hanshi, and like you said, I was the ring bearer in your wedding. That was a very, I still remember that day.
Yeah,
that was a very beautiful day. And I remember being around all you guys, man. That's the type of the love that I was making reference to. Being around all of the men who were standing by your side, all the men who were there, and the women as well. But just having that connection to that source. And that's what I wore on the inside, that guilt. But I had it a little bit different though, because even though I used to be in the street, my father used to, it seemed like he always found me, no matter where I was at, no matter what state I was in. He had a black belt somewhere running down on me.
Yep.
I used to always be like, yo, how is it that he knows exactly where I'm at? And the black belt would just run down on me and say, yo, man, why you ain't home? Whether, in East New York, man, it could have been, you, it could have been Zato, it could have been Kuda, but I can't count on Spider. I can't count on my hands the times that while I was doing what I was doing, out of nowhere, a black belt just approached me. And I used to tell individuals on the block, dudes be like, yo, Mo, who is that? I'd be like, listen, I'm going to keep it 100. We out here doing what we doing, but you don't want no smoke with that guy right there. That's a fact. That guy got some smoke, and he gonna regulate. So I used to always tell dudes, you see these guys walking here, leave these guys alone. These are different type of guys. These guys are like angels. They come here, they humble, but they will hurt you. Respectfully, leave them alone. I'm just keeping it 100. These people, they know some things. So, but I'm very thankful to come from that foundation, and that's the pain. See, people don't realize that guilt. The question was asked. What was the hardest thing? That comes with all of that right there. Just having to overcome the the pain of letdown from people who know you're better than where you are. That is the pain of that is that accompanies that process, is that when people see you, they see you for being your parents' child, but knowing the potential you have, but letting them down from not being the person who they know you had the potential of being. That letdown is the guilt that comes with that. I can't even describe it in words. It's crazy, man.
Thank you. I think we have time for maybe one or two more comments or questions for Brother Moshe, just out of respect for everyone's time. But we can take one or two more. Any other thoughts or questions for the brother before we get ready to close it down for the evening?
Yeah, peace. Let me jump in.
Please
peace,
do.
brother. You talking about conscious moves, right? And I'd like you to build a little more on and talk, because you can look at conscious moves and focus on like what are the negative consequences of bad decisions. And Uncle Billy, earlier he was talking about how you came home, you've been grinding ever since. So talk a little more about how the conscious moves, how you're making conscious moves, and that's the momentum. You're using the conscious moves and the momentum to build forward. Like, how did you come home prepared to hit the ground and have the impact that you're having right now?
Great question. Peace, my brother. And I see my beautiful niece, Maima, sitting there too. How you doing, beautiful?
Good.
Okay, so that's a great question, my brother. So, again, I spoke about having a queen by my side, and she was able to balance me out. And we sat down and we discussed strategy moving forward in regards to what it is that we want, what we felt we needed to do. And that was a conscious move on our behalf. So we didn't just haphazardly just move around. I drove her crazy. At times she's like, "You're driving me crazy with this." But we strategized. We saw the pros, the cons. What is it that we want to do? How is it that we want to do it? When do you see that being done? And this was a conscious effort on our behalf to say that this is what we wanted to do. So the first move of the conscious mind thing, these were all things that we saw ourselves doing. We fought. She said, I don't want to do the apparel thing. I said, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do the consulting thing. She said, yeah, but you all you do is you run your mouth all day. I'm getting tired of hearing your mouth. But we can make you gotta use that mouth. So these going back and forth. This is my wife. Like, yeah, but you gotta use that mouth. You gotta do this with the youth and do that with the, and that's that. And I'm like, well, what about speaking here? You can do that too. So these were conscious efforts so that when I did make the transition back out here, I was simply just manifesting what had already been previously, not make knowledge been born already. Knowledge had already been born. We already stated what we would say or what we would do, and we effectuated that once that process actually happened. So every step that you see being made now is a conscious move. This is why I compare it to, as Hanshi said, he likes to play chess. When you're making your moves on the board, these are conscious moves that you're making. The one who is your opponent, if he's not a worthy adversary and he's just haphazardly moving pieces, then you're going to conquer him or her, right? That opponent is going to be conquered because they're not making those conscious moves. And I equate that with what's being done now. The challenges that I face right now, if you're not consciously confronting me with any power that can equal my influence, or what it is that my power that I want to do moving forward, then I'm just gonna run over you. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean that just how I'm moving. I'm not gonna be denied my rightful place of doing what I know I'm capable of doing. I'm not squandering my potential any longer. I did that for too long, and that's not happening any longer. So that's a great question, big bro.
Powerful. I think we can take one more. It's wide open. One more. Someone, come on.
Come on, y'all. Let's ask these questions. Make up a question.
Well, Moshe, I don't really have a question, but I just want to say how proud I am of you.
That's my Aunt Mona. Oh, I know who you are. Hey, Aunt Mona.
Right? I want to say how proud, but I'm going to let you know I'm a little militant in my ways. So when I heard that you was, you know, my niece was marrying this man that was in jail for a long time. So I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You had to come out proven, because we come from a powerful, strong family of women.
Yes.
So I'm just proud of you. I follow what you're doing on Conscious Moves. My husband asked a very good question. I like that. My sister, she replied with a very good question. So I always want you to remember, Armona gonna look for those conscious moves. And when I see you not moving that move, best to believe Armona is gonna make sure you on that conscious move. Love
Listen,
you. Great work.
Listen, I love you too, but let me, you know, your niece, woo wee, she about that smoke.
That's right. That's
That is
what,
your niece.
how we roll. That's how we roll. Be ready to deal. We don't come nowhere. That's how we roll. Because somebody put in the chat that they wanted to meet. They want you to introduce your wife. They want to meet your wife. So make that your next conscious move.
Thank you.
I think we have one other comment again from L Best. You had your hand up?
Yes. So what I would like to know, because you came out with a jetpack on your back flying, and there's been people out here that ain't made a move in their entire life. So what is next for Conscious Moves?
Great question. Well, so right now, my wife and I, we are putting together some hoodies. We have an apparel line. In addition to Conscious Mind Ventures, the LLC, the parent company of Conscious Move, what we intend on doing moving forward is coming out with a clothing line. She doesn't like me to refer to such, but we're gonna bring out some hoodies for the fall and the winter to keep everybody warm, but to keep everybody focused on making conscious moves. And then not only that, season 2 we have coming up. I'm gonna move from this pilot phase of what we're doing through audio, and we're gonna basically go to YouTube. We're gonna be out there on YouTube so that people can see the face behind the voice. And now we can start bringing on guests and doing things where we can open up the discussion, have a much broader discussion about the issues confronting us in the community. So it will allow me to open up the space to say, listen, I'm going to call Kekasan as a guest. You know, I'm going to call Hanshi Nikwan. I'm going to call Uncle Billy. I might call this guy and that person and so on and so forth. Or just some younger individuals, the youth who are affected by the issues in the community. It might be active gang members, former gang members who I personally know, just individuals who were involved in the street life. So it's going to be a cornucopia of individuals that I selectively choose to help speak about the issues confronting the community as a whole. So that's coming up next, and you'll also hear me speaking at many engagements, whatever those issues may be. I'm connected with somebody who works at SUNY, and she's the prison education director. So she's going to try to help me get involved in many criminal justice discussions where I can use that to basically speak from the experience of those who were on the inside and who were unfortunate victims of the criminal justice system.
Most High smile upon you. Domo arigato, brother.
Arigato. Alhamdulillah. Yes. And tell my gosh to stop saying hello.
I am going to tell her after the call.
Yes, please, please, please.
And this is absolutely fabulous, man, brother Moshe, man. I tell you, I'm just really humbled to have you here on Home of I Am. Really want to thank all of our wonderful folks from across the country that came out to share in this brother's victory and glory and continue to do. I'm going to be there with you. I'm going to talk to you about your clothing line as well. I have some things that I think will be very beneficial to you. So we're going to support. I mean, we're going to dig in. I mean, all in. Okay, so we really appreciate everyone. We will have an edited version of this too. I think it'll be a great teaching tool for everyone. And so I'll send out a YouTube link to you, brother, that you can put on your pages and everything else for everyone. Okay. Again, as Michael asked me to just mention to everyone, this Home of I Am, it's just an open platform that we do once a month. And it's for all people, all genders, all races, all hues, people from all walks of life will be on this platform sharing their aim. As we talked about it before, their aim is AEM, which is their awareness, their expansion, and their movement as we all expand our consciousness in terms of things that's happening. I think the one thing I would like to say that I am grateful for these events that's happening is that people are rising, right? So Mike's been doing it for over 20 years, but I'm seeing small schools happening in communities. Men are standing up. Brother mentioned that early. And people saying we have to dig in now. We got to do it. So I'm humbled and I'm grateful to see these things starting to happen in all communities. Again, I'd like to just thank everyone for coming on and participating and sending that love and sharing that love. So continue your greatness in your home of I am. Hoping everyone has a wonderful, peaceful, and blessed evening. Okay? Be well, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you.
supporting me.
Moshe, where's
all
your
y'all.
wife? Where's my niece at?
Oh, where's your wife?
My wife? My
Yes.
wife is right here.
I'm doing my thing right now.
Okay, that's the wife.
Where's the queen? Where's the queen on the chessboard? Right next to the king.
That's where she's supposed to be. I was checking because that's my niece.
Right here.
I was checking, but she in her place.
Listen, she right here next to me.
Okay, I was making sure she was in her place on the board.
Listen, she right there. Looking out, making sure no pawns is moving around, no bitches.
Now, you see me checking. You see me checking.
Yeah. All right, thank you, y'all. Love y'all, man. Thank you.
Love y'all.
Love you too, bro. Much peace to everyone.
All right, peace, brother.
Much peace.
Much peace.
Thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Great show.
Really appreciate everyone for coming on. Have a safe evening and thank you guys again. Brother Day Max, thank you, brother. We appreciate you. Brother Grady, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Sister Lois, we appreciate you. Brother Green, thank you. Everyone have a great evening. Blessings. Peace.